Hello and welcome to another video, talking SailGP Sydney. Saturday and day one of the event. The weather forecast was for an easterly breeze of 15 km an hour, gusting to 25. The F-50s were rigged with light wind rudders and foils, a 24-metre wing and a large J1, and there'd be only 5 crew on board. Bonds Flying Ruse welcomed back Ian Goobs Jensen from his injury in Perth. Brazil have a new wing trimmer and a new strategist for this event. Race 1. Denmark led at the first mark, with Emirates GBR in second, Bonds Flying Ruse in third. Germany and Spain split the course after the first mark. Coming into gate 2, Spain had made the right call, were now third. Bonds Flying Ruse crossed in front of Emirates GBR in Spain, so giving them an advantage on the next cross on this 6-leg race. Denmark were in the lead, but made a bad call and turned in the middle of the fleet, which was costly, and lost 2 places. Bonds Flying Ruse won the race, and the home fans on the Shark Island, were really happy with it. Denmark was second, Emirates GBR were third. Switzerland and Canada had a drag race to the finish line for that last and final point, and the Swiss took 10th place. Race 2. The Swiss had a great start and were closely followed by Spain and Brazil. They had a substantial lead over the rest of the fleet. At gate 2, US SailGP team had made some good calls and were in 4th. Bonds Flying Ruse and Emirates GBR were still at the back of the fleet. Los Galos had a gust of wind and got up on the foils and took the lead. At the last gate, Switzerland and Spain had to make 2 more moves to be in sight of the finish line, and Spain made a continuous movement and won the race. The Swiss and US SailGP team had a drag race to the finish line. The Swiss claimed 2nd place. Brazil looked good for 4th, but were slow and lost 2 places and finished 6th. Race 3. As the light was fading, it made it difficult to predict where the next gust of wind would come from. And the wind had dropped, so there were 4 crew on the F-50. So they did have the chance to foil. 3 teams were too early to the line, and the penalty for this was to go to the back of the fleet. But because of the light winds, it was difficult. Therefore, some of the teams that were not penalised were held up. Spain had a great start on the outside, and Canada were on the inside on the tight line to the mark. Spain were out in front by a country mile, while Canada were fighting with Artemis and Italy, and lost out and were in 4th. Spain was so far in front that they started lapping some teams, and they won the race. Brazil and GBR were fighting for 4th and 5th. It was pretty impressive on the drag race to the line, as Emirates GBR pushed Brazil up high. Unfortunately for GBR, this didn't slow down the Brazilians enough for 4th. So Spain 1st, Artemis 2nd, Italy 3rd, Brazil 4th, and Emirates GBR 5th. A rainbow over Sydney marked the last race of the day. With winds at 13 km an hour, Emirates GBR were first to mark 1. Canada, Switzerland and Bonds Flying Ruse following closely. On leg 5, Bonds Flying Ruse caught a boundary penalty and had to lose ground. Emirates GBR were in first, but the wind didn't favour them. With the penalty on the Aussies, they fell back and caught a bit of wind and got up on the foils and took the lead. Emirates GBR were in the middle of the course with no wind. So the upshot was Bonds Flying Rose finished first, with Germany second, US third, and finally Emirates GBR in sixth. Sunday and day 2 of the event. With the easterly winds at 7 to 15 km an hour, there was 4 crew, 27 metre wing, and a shorter race course. It was really crowded in the start box, and Canada and Germany were going for a gap that was only made for one F50. Canada lost that. Further up the line, Italy, who were in the lead, were slowly approaching the first mark, with Denmark and Spain following. Emirates GBR and Spain went out to the boundary, while Denmark and Switzerland split away. At gate 2, the boats were moving so slow that 6 boats entered the circle, and you just knew that one of them would get a penalty. And Denmark and Swiss did and had to give ground. Emirates GBR won the race, with Spain in second and US in third. Brazil and Bonds Flying Rose had a slow drag race to the finish line. I was winning the Brazilians on to beat the Aussies for a change. They did. They finished 5th. Race 6. At the start, there was almost a repeat. Canada and Sweden and Australia were going for that gap. US and Brazil had a good start from the middle of the line. US got to the first mark first, along with Germany, Australia and Brazil. North Star Canada turned away and were followed by Denmark. US kept it simple with less manoeuvres at gate 2, whereas Germany and Emirates GBR were at the gate and Rockwell Racing, with no room, tried the inside. They got a penalty that had slowed down Emirates GBR. US won the race, Germany in second, and Denmark third. Emirates GBR came in 7th. Race 7. Denmark had a flying start, with Italy in second, but a long way behind. With a wind shift, Denmark were on their way back up the course, whereas all the other teams hadn't got to gate 2. Emirates GBR kept themselves in front of the US, so making sure that they would qualify for the final. Australia were having a nightmare, and then they received another penalty. Denmark was so fast to win the race that the broadcast team nearly didn't get it. Italy came in second, North Star. Brazil were in 4th, and they were very happy with the event point. My prediction from my previous video was almost right. Just a shocker from Australia, as they missed out on the qualifying for the final. US SailGP team were in their first final since 2024 with Emirates GBR and Spain. The final had only 13 kilometres of hour of wind, 3 F50s, so it could have been easier to foil. US and GBR were neck and neck as they foiled to first mark. As they rounded and got out to the boundary, Emirates GBR was the first to turn, and they almost fell off the foils. The Americans were a lot smoother, and they gained a couple of metres. As they went round the course, both boats were in H1. US won the final, and this was great news for the US SailGP team. Emirates GBR were happy-ish, second after all. And Los Galos again scored some good points on the championship leaderboard. Let's have a look at the championship leaderboard, see who's who. The next SailGP is in Rio on 11th, 12th of April. The Brazilians were really impressive in this Grand Prix, and they will be looking to enjoy their home event and scoring some good points, with DS Automobiles France joining the Rio race. Will this change the standings? And will the Black Foils have an F50 to race? With only 37 days to go, we don't have long to wait. So thank you for watching this video. If you like it, I hope you subscribe and get a notification for the next video, or click a thumbs up. Great seeing you here. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now.